activity. Cockpit Innovation is the venture arm of El Al Airlines. The main goal is to provide a better site for startups to test their ideas in the aviation world. So what we do is search for early stage companies, it can be even later stage, and find a shared business case in aviation and then help promote it not only in El Al, but with other players, can be other airlines, but in general in the aviation industry.
Our dreams, our family, our heritage.
Okay, so I'll follow. Hi everyone, glad to be here as well. So I represent Starburst, which is a global company with 8 locations around the world, 70 people, and we work with about 60 corporate partners around the world. We focus exclusively in aerospace, aviation, and defense. Our mission is to support and accelerate the growth of leaders in the aerospace industries that are working towards making a safer, greener, and more connected world. We have about 125 startups in our portfolio. Specifically in Israel, we have invested in 10 Israeli startups. And since we established the office 3 years ago, we worked very closely with Israel Aerospace Industries, which is one of the biggest OEM and leaders in aerospace in Israel. We've co-developed about 45 projects related to aerospace. 21 of those were co-developed with startups. Last year, we've launched the Astra, which is Israel's first space tech accelerator. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So what are the key factors you're considering before you make an investment? We'll start with you, Noemie, and we'll go back.
The key factors? Well, since we invest in pre-seed and seed, that's our sweet spot, we mostly look at the team.
Okay.
So the founders, is the idea innovative, disruptive? We try to gauge how far along they are on the ladder of proof, if they have some initial traction. Because when you invest in people, you know that no matter what the market will throw at them, they'll be able to pivot and adjust, and also keep up and not give up, because it's very much up and down. Yeah, so people and innovation.
Oz?
Yeah, so for us, currently our main criteria is shared vision, or at least start working with the corporate, with El Al. The reason for that is when we work together, we can see the founder's qualities, we can understand better if there's a need, if it solves a real problem, and we gain real insight into the early stage initiative. So this is for us the main KPI, let's say, but it also means that we can sometimes miss opportunities. Yeah, this is a known problem, I say. Miss opportunities that are great, amazing, but we didn't have the chance to work together. We know that. We might work on changing that as well.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about the early stage, most investors, like was mentioned, are going to look very closely at the team. To me, what team means is, do they have a personal passion for the problem they're solving? Or is it 3 founders that basically sat in a coffee shop and said, what kind of thing could we start a startup on? Because if they have a personal passion for the problem they are trying to solve, they go to bed every night and they wake up every morning, it's driving them crazy that this problem exists and it can be solved, they are going to become an unstoppable founder, right? You get told no 1,000,000 times as a founder, and if all you wanted to do was start a startup with your friend, you're going to give up very quickly after hearing all of those no's. But if you have a personal passion for the problem that you solve, you're going to be unstoppable, have more of a chance of being unstoppable. The second thing that I look for in the founders is, are they coachable? I will not invest in what we would refer to as a cocky founder. A cocky founder has all of the answers. And I'm a very active advisor myself. I really don't care if a startup takes my advice and implements. I really say this with honesty. It doesn't matter to me if they take my advice. I expect them to at least listen to it, process it, and then do whatever is the right thing to do. So I find that there's a very fine line between confident and coachable. Confident and cocky. I look for confident yet coachable founders, not cocky founders.
I love it. I wanted to add that we have the no asshole rule, and especially if you're working with them closely as an accelerator. And Weed Fusion do about 20 deals a year, so smaller pace than you, but really working closely with them here in the U.S. as well. Only Israeli founders. It's really horrible to work with somebody that is not coachable, and you just maybe we'll lose the deal, but you want to work with good people, and good people hopefully will galvanize a community around them and will recruit good people and can build great companies. So maybe besides not being cocky, some other advice that you would give Israeli founders in the audience or local American founders here, if they're now building or starting or want to start a new company in 2023? Let's go this way.
You know, I spent a lot of time in Israel. I helped run an Israeli tech company, so I feel like I have a flavor for the startup environment there. But I think this issue that I'm going to describe as my advice exists all over the place. Founders tend to focus mostly or almost only on the product they're building and the technology that's in the product. And they might sit with me for 30 minutes. And if I allowed them to, they would spend the whole time just talking about the product. And I'm going to interrupt them after about 10 minutes and I'm going to say, wait a minute, are you building a product or are you building a company? Because I don't invest in products, I invest in companies. So tell me about the company that you're going to build. And I go through the whole lecture because, you know, I've been in companies and I realize there's going to be a point in the near future where there's a lot of important matters that are well beyond just the product that are going to lead to success. So this is something I try to explain in the very early days to a founder.
So my perspective is from the corporate and investor perspective. My advice to startup CEOs would be, if you want to work with the corporate, let's say, such as Alliel, which is a traditional and complex business, what you want to do is understand that you're working with an organization that has its own rules, basically, and what you want to do is see who are the right stakeholders, and what are the processes that you need to go through in order to implement your product. And as a CEO, you are responsible, you are in charge to focus your efforts. So first you need to see if there is a real need for you, for your startup to work with to work in aviation, and for the airline, let's say, to work with you, and then pursue it as much as you can, but know that you have, Can you hear me? Yeah. Know that you have a process that you need to go through. You need to go through legal, procurement, the IT, cybersecurity. Ask what you need to do. Manage it as a project manager. As a project manager. Understand the processes and allocate resources accordingly.
Very corporate.
Yeah, it's very much corporate, but this is what I see. You know, I look at it also from the investor perspective. CEOs that know how to allocate their resources are good CEOs. Mostly it's the most experienced CEOs, but not only. Sometimes you get young CEOs that know exactly what they need to do.
So one of the questions I ask the founders I meet is, why are you doing this and why now? And to my surprise, very few are able to answer that in a compelling and good way, which touch upon what Gordon mentioned about the passion. Does the idea keep them at night? So why? Because, you know, they're about to embark on this journey that's going to take them at least 7 years, if they're lucky, sometimes more. And they need to know that, you know, what's driving them? Is it passion? Is it this need that they have to solve this challenge? Or is it something else? Typically, if it's money, it's not going to get them through the hard time. And then the why now is, okay, why not 3 years ago? And why is now the right time to invest in this? Has there been a change in technology? Has there been a breakthrough? Has there been a change in regulation? And sometimes timing is everything, and if you guys are interested in the science of why startups fail and why startups succeed, the opposite, then there's a really great TED Talks that talk about this. And one of the key reasons that they fail and then as opposed to succeed is timing. Timing is everything. It's not cliche, it is true. If you're too early, it's as bad as being too late. So understanding the market, understanding the trends, and having a little bit of visionary to understand where the market is going to go and why now is the time to do it, and being able to articulate that to the investors is crucial.
So tell me about a company that have that story from your portfolio that you're super excited about. You have one that you can share?
So the one that I'm most excited to be working with and that is doing something truly innovative is called WeSpace Technologies. They are basically building a robot that flies, or flying robots, if you will, and their system is about able to fly over the moon, surface terrain, so really rough areas, and explore the surface and the subsurface in order to basically explore and mine data. The innovation behind it is they created what they call the Hoppler, which is a system that allows for lunar exploration. What it means is that through their technology, we're able to gather data, explore, and utilizes moon's data. And that, I believe, has a lot of implications for life on Earth. So I think it's really, really cool. They have a lot of challenges along the way. One of the biggest one is how to get their machine to the moon. So you have to get it through orbit.
Sounds expensive.
Very. And actually the trip to get there is more expensive than the system that they're building, which is one of the biggest things that the investors are like, why? But yet there's a need, right?
Who's paying for this?
They will find the right partner. But the good news is that the cost has been decreasing quite a bit to launch things into space. And now you have many different companies that are solving, I guess what I would describe as a last mile, which is to get once it's launched and deployed, you need to transport it and land it into the moon. It's called the Moon Lander Services. It's a whole new world, guys, out there. Space is really, really cool. So for those of you who are interested, come talk to me afterwards.
Love it. Oz?
It was super interesting, yeah. We have 11 portfolio companies. One is in the space industry. It's called the Beetlesat. But I want to talk about a different company from our portfolio, which is called Intellect. What they do is solve a problem for the aviation industry, which is on the operational efficiency side. They're improving the turnaround of an airplane. Sounds simple, but turnaround of an airplane is a complex process that involves many processes that happen simultaneously. And operational efficiency is crucial for this industry. You see airports that are increasingly every day are being much more busy than they used to be. Every delay affects other airlines as well. So you need to be as much efficient as you can. So what they do, they're using the CCTV cameras that are already mounted at the gate and understand the processes that are going on the ground, and in real time give you the ground handlers and the airline what you need to do in order to prevent any delays. So in this industry, if you save even 1 minute and they save more, you can save a lot of money because it accumulates. Every 1 minute delay can be at the end of the day, much, much more than that.
Yeah, go for it, Garnet.
The iris of your eye is made up of 3,000 muscle fibers, and those muscle fibers move and change the shape and size of your pupil in ways that you can't see it. But we have a startup named Sensei that is able to analyze the changes in shape and size of your iris and the movement of those muscle fibers with a standard cell phone camera. It turns out those movements of your muscle fibers in your iris gives you almost an MRI readout of your brain. Various behavioral and state changes, cognitive load, fight or flight response, various neurological disorders are actually indicated through the iris. And we've known this for a while with science, but nobody's been able to do anything with it. So the first use case they're going after is diagnosing PTSD, anxiety, and depression. They're already in clinical trials. We already have proof that it works. They're going after what's called software as a medical device. This is a new field at least in U.S. Medical and healthcare. We know it works. We just have to show it to the FDA. And of course, from there, we can go to MS, Alzheimer's disease, all kinds of amazing, amazing things. It's a fun company.
Well, okay. And you were a first investor in that company?
We are the first investor. Founder was 17 years old. He did this as a high school project. He moved to Austin when he was 19. We invested $100,000. Then we invested $500,000. I've been on their board of directors for about 3 years or so. It's really exciting.
Very cool.
Impressive.
17.
So,
Sounds really interesting, sorry, Yair. And got to tell you that I see also a use case for the aviation industry. Yeah,
He has one. He used this with the U.S. Air Force for pilot training.
Yeah, exactly.
When a pilot has mastered a particular skill, the cognitive load on their brain reduces and the fight or flight response changes. They proved that they could train an aviator instead of 27 months. Each aviator goes through the training at their own pace because you might master a skill faster than I do. And so they shorten that and they cut off $1.7 million per trainee. The government, U.S. government, there's all kinds of issues with that. So we as a company decided that we'll take that later. There's almost infinite use cases. It's kind of crazy.
I would love to help.
Would love to meet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a moment and do a promotional for Fusion founders in the audience, which I'm excited about. So stand up, the Fusion founders that are here.
Woo!
Great. So I'm excited about those companies. P-Commerce, Solan Games, War Studios, that's soon going to change their name. But we at Fusion invest in Israeli-led teams. We have here at the ISC conference 12 CEOs and founders that we funded from different industries, including mental health, gaming, robotics, digital health. And they're all going to walk around with Fusion shirts. So feel free to go to them, speak with them. Maybe I'll share another company that is already graduate from the program 3 years ago. And today, on a like generate few millions of dollars, scaled up, and their name is Agora Real Estate. The CEO is also here, and they're selling a software solution for real estate companies. So for those of you on the here from the previous panel, go and find out about Agora Real Estate, and Bar, the CEO, is running around. So that's my quick promotional for Fusion portfolio companies. But please, we're going to be here all weekend, so feel free to reach out and chat with us about it. Let's speak about the global downturn, economic downturn we're all experiencing. I'm sure as investors you all feel that, your portfolio companies feel that. I think it's the best time to start new companies. If you were to start a company in 2023, which vertical, which industry you think is the most ripe for disruption? What are you excited about entering this new year? Noemie, let's start with you.
So first, I agree with you. It's one of the best time to start because the greatest challenges brings the greatest opportunities. So it's going to be maybe a surprise to you, but I will preach to do something in new space, which is our area of focus at Starburst. So why new space? I'll give you 3 reasons. First of all, space is cool, and life is too short to work on boring stuff. Second, it's a really fast-growing industry. It has a lot of untapped market opportunities. Specifically, if there's Israeli founders, we have a really strong, fast developing ecosystem in Israel, which is built upon a really strong base coming from the military technologies, and a lot of leading government institutions like IAI, Elbit, and Rafael that are propelling the innovation forward. And third is that I'm excited because 2023 will be the year that space is becoming accessible to everyone, greatly in part to leading players like SpaceX that have greatly contributed to reducing the cost of launch by building those massive, big rockets, but also other companies like Axiom that we partner with that are unlocking the value of space for everyone. So definitely new space technology. I think it has a lot of opportunities. And in terms of how it could impact like specific market trends that I would focus on, I would pick three. One would be how space can influence greatly the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. So that touches upon what Gordon was mentioning before. Because in space, for those of you who don't know, you have unique condition and you can do microgravity experiment, which has a lot of implications for drug testing, drug developments, and discovery. The other industry that we're going to be looking at closely in the next 2 years will be quantum computing and optics. And the last one will be manufacturing in space. Because it's so expensive to take things up and down, why not just build things in space? And it will be sort of the basis to create a lunar base. So keep that in mind if you want to get into space, and come talk to me, and I'll happily to advise you.
So there's a lot of ways to disrupt the aviation industry, but it takes time. I would focus on 2023 for founders in aviation on sustainable aviation fuels, as most airlines do, but also on energy storage. And also on the consumer side, on fintech and blockchain solution, loyalty solutions. And there are ways, I believe, to also disrupt the onboard experience, the e-commerce experience that you can take from to start in the aviation industry and take it to other industries as well. So I would look at aviation as a start. Think of a solution that you can start using in aviation to disrupt this industry and take it to other places as well. We have some ideas, but we look for founders that want to start even something with us. You get a beta site, initial funding, and a partner.
If a founder here at this conference walked up to me and she told me that she wants to quit her job and start a startup, and she asked me the question you said, which industry should she go after or which product should she build? My answer would be, that's the wrong question. What do you wake up every morning feeling like you need to solve some problem? And what industry does that match, or what product does that match to? There are trends in industries, that is true, but it takes at least 5 years to build a great company, probably 10 years. The trends are going to change 3 times in those 10 years. So don't follow a trend, follow your passion. Everything's going to work out just fine. Of the trends that kind of excite me as an investor, we're on the, third or fourth or fifth wave of artificial intelligence. It's been around for a while. AI is not an industry, by the way. Nobody is in the AI industry. There is no, scientists, of course, maybe are in the AI industry. AI is like internet, and it's kind of funny how we might refer to, that startup is an AI startup, or that startup is an AI startup, and that's going to seem ridiculous to use that phrase in a year or two. Much like I'm old enough to have lived through the .com and internet introduction into the world. And in 1999 and 2000, we referred to a startup as a .com startup or an internet startup. And that seemed ridiculous a couple of years later. We are now at the point with AI where it is going to infiltrate everything we do, every industry, every product. So it's unbelievably exciting, and you guys are reading the press, and as an investor, it excites me greatly.
I have to agree. Generative AI is just going to be a layer in all startups that we're seeing right now. Now it's just a great buzzword, but it's going to be just a commodity. We started with Austin. We're going to finish and wrap up this panel also with an Austin question. Actually, this morning we hosted, together with Brex, a really cool happy hour, happy breakfast here in Austin. And a lot of the people in the room said to me the same. I just moved here 2 years ago, 6 months ago, a month ago. I'm so excited about this space. I feel like this place is booming with technology, investors. As somebody who's been here throughout this time, what do you think about Israelis moving to Austin, Gordon? Have you funded some Israeli-led teams with Capital Factory? Are we going to see Alliel direct flights coming to Austin anytime soon? But that's maybe another question. Yeah.
Well, I've been in Austin for 30 years, so I've seen a few changes. This crazy trend of Austin growth, it's not a new thing. I mean, it's actually been going on for decades. It's a very exciting place for Israelis or people from any country, any part of the country. It is a great place to come. I'll tell you that Texas, so part of this is Austin, part of this is just Texas. Texas is a business-friendly state. Our taxation, our laws, our regulation. I'm ignoring anybody's personal belief, but I'm telling you, as a business, it is a business-friendly state. It's also a founder-friendly state. Many of you that are here, I hear from people that come and they say, man, when I'm in Austin or I'm in Texas, the second sentence out of someone's mouth is, how can I help you? And this is, I don't know if it's a Southern hospitality thing or what it is, but as a founder, it's very easy to become part of a network, very easy to integrate into the community, and that's great. There is available capital. Austin is the most active, investor market. The venture capital deployed in Austin is greater than Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio combined. But those markets have capital as well. So all of the markets now, there is early stage capital available. Later stage growth capital is mostly in Austin. So that is great for a founder. And it's, there is just lots of resources that are available. Israelis could come here very quickly, get integrated, very quickly have access to mentors and advisors to help them figure out the business structure, how to get investors, and all of those things. So yeah, I think it is pretty exciting.
Do you have some portfolio companies that are headquarters in Texas? What do you think about it? Or not yet? Okay. I feel like we have some founders that are considering Austin, and it's not just Silicon Valley, New York, or LA, and we're definitely going to spend more time here in the coming years as Fusion. So I want to, on that note, end this panel. Thank you all for your insights.
Thank you.
Really, thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of the evening and the happy hour.